All right, welcome back to Salt City Counseling. Once again, my name's Scott Carter, and I'm a licensed therapist. And in this video, I want to talk about something that is keeping people and making people really profoundly miserable. And it's basically a little bit of a mental trap that a lot of people I'm finding just really have a hard time getting out of. And that is people pleasing. And why? So, in this video, I'm going to talk about why people have a tendency to fall into people pleasing, and hopefully some strategies on how to help you escape it. People pleasing is just one of those things that it's just going to work against you, right? People pleasing will undermine your ability to build your confidence and build your self esteem. It's going to undermine your relationships, for example. It's going to undermine your ability to succeed at a lot of things, including work, relationships, and the like. And so let's get into it. So I really believe that people fall into a people pleasing pattern largely because of how they were raised or how they were parented, right? What were your parents like? These days, it's pretty normal for parents to be very approving, very validating, and very supportive when you give them exactly what they want. And on the opposite end, modern parents have a tendency to be very, very discouraging, very disheartening, and very displeased with you if you do what you want, or if you become self serving, or if you please yourself. And so this kids grow up, they just get conditioned into this pattern of behavior of people pleasing. And it's so bad with the parenting these days. By the way, I've noticed that parents get really, really uncomfortable. They get really upset if a kid tries to branch out or just even kind of be their own person. And the parents get really upset with them. They get really hot and bothered. They want their kids to just live the way that they want them to live. I've even had parents get upset with me because I'm encouraging people to be their own human being, to have their own likes, their own dislikes, and follow their own path in life. And even if that means coming at the disapproval of your parents. And so this is just even a quick note for the parents out there, right? Your kids are going to make decisions that you don't entirely agree with that you won't entirely agree with. It's your job to love them and support them anyways. It's your job to believe in them even if you don't like or agree with their decisions. It's your job to fan their flames of wanting to be their own person and walk their own path, not extinguish them. And unfortunately, I see this with a lot of parents these days, is that they just smother the child. They're just smothering them into submission and compliance, like as though right, like your kids are indentured to you when honestly they're not. They don't owe you their lives. They don't belong to you, right? Support them anyways. Like unconditional love, unfortunately, seems to have gone the way of the dodo, along with many other things. And I really believe it's one of the reasons why people are so miserable and so unhappy these days, as well as being such extreme people pleasers, as they is that they grow up and they are mortified at the idea of losing the approval of not only the parents but of people in general. People pleasing will always undermine your ability to build your own self esteem. Why? Because you're not being true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself if you want to build your self esteem. Okay, that we've all heard the word integrity, and what that actually means is to be congruent or consistent with yourself, even if it costs you a lot. And in fact, in order to practice really extreme or excellent integrity, really, it's going to cost you things. It's going to cost you approval. And believe me, it's temporary. But here's the thing is that the more that you're true to yourself, the more you won't seek approval from others because you'll have it more from yourself because you're being more true to yourself. Now I say this while realizing and understanding that there are a lot of people out there that feel entirely lost because they don't even know who they are anymore. They've done the people pleasing thing for so long, they don't even have a sense of self or identity outside of pleasing other people. So, in the process of learning to break this destructive habit or this destructive pattern or cycle in your life, you've really got to get very, very honest with yourself and learn to excavate who you truly are and what's really important to you. So here's an exercise that I would recommend doing. And I always recommend to people and always encourage them to get a journal, get a therapy journal, get a notebook, use it, actively use it. To me, writing things down and doing things and writing has always been extremely effective, not only personally, but like when I get my clients to do it and write things down and to do it in a journaling or just in a notebook, they always get way more out of it. And the reason being is because like writing requires you to incorporate different parts or of your brain, different executive functioning in your brain, and it helps put things into a greater perspective and explore it further. So here's an example of a writing prompt that you could do, right? For 1 week, sit down at the end of the day, spend 5 to 10 minutes writing down all the ways that you were engaging in like people pleasing behaviors, right? Today, each I noticed I was doing people pleasing behavior when I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. And frankly, if you do it for a week straight, it will help a lot. It really will. You'll be surprised at how it will change how you feel. It's going to help change your perspective. If you can shift your perspective about certain things in life, right? Look at things from a different angle, from this angle or that angle, it's going to make a profound difference. It's really going to do a lot for you just in terms of being able to alter your perspective on something and start making changes. So, one of the first things I would encourage you to do is write this down. Okay. Do this writing exercise. A second writing exercise that you could do as well. Again, this is your life. To me, this is how you create or and incorporate changes into your life. Okay. A second exercise that you could do, again, writing it down. Write down, just write a story about your history of people pleasing, where it came from, how did this come about. Explore it, get to know your own mind, right? Get to know your own emotions, get to know your own thoughts, your beliefs, dig them out, carve them out, right? Get to know them really well. Build awareness. Awareness is honestly, when it comes to mental health, your best friend. It truly is. And those who do not exercise awareness, it's like not having awareness or exercising awareness is sort of like driving your car with a blindfold on, right? Well, I don't want to look. I don't want to look at it because I'm afraid of what I might be running over or what I might be hitting, right? And your life is sort of this way, right? Where you're just sort of hitting the throttle while you're blindfolded and like, well, I don't want to have a look at what I might be running over, what I might be hitting, what mistakes I might be making, because it's difficult and it's painful, right? Fear is irrational, and we've got to do things that are difficult and hard if we want to find our happiness and if we want to get over things like people pleasing. As a side note, too, people pleasing is often like closely connected to perfectionism. I see the extreme heavy people pleasers. They can be very perfectionistic, and perfectionism is your enemy. And perfectionism will also make you really miserable. And again, these two things are really related. And so, when it comes to people pleasing, people find themselves in this mindset that if I just do all the right things, then life will be good. And you never get there. You never arrive. It's just one of those things that's just always going to make you miserable and always going to work against you. In the long run, the solution is to build your self-esteem, create consistency, create congruence with yourself, right? So this goes along with the idea that human beings become fragmented or fractured, right? It's almost like their psyche or the sense of the whole self is broken or shattered into pieces. Okay, and the more a person is fragmented, the more mentally ill they have a tendency to be. To me, what I've learned after all these years is the trick to life of being happy and having good mental health is piecing yourself back together and kind of being whole again. I know there are a lot, and I mean a lot of people out there that feel like being whole is impossible. It's not. It's really not, though it can be a difficult and an uphill climb. To me, too, you have to consider that the conventional way or the typical ways that we treat mental health and mental illness these days is not helping people become whole. You got to think outside the box. You really do. You have to pursue things that are unconventional. And me as a therapist, I'm really unconventional. My clients have described me many times as being unconventional. I'm just outside of the box when it comes to mental health treatment because I believe people can be whole. And so this can be just one of those pieces of the puzzle, and realizing and recognizing this is just going to make you miserable. It always has, it always will, but you can change it. Okay. Set your sights on making changes. The perfectionism comes into play when people start thinking, right? Like, how long is it going to take? When will I be done? When will it be complete? Right. And that's a perfectionism speaking. Okay. You want to try to abandon any and all ideas that completion or arrival is the goal. And I know that creates anxiety in people, but really the reward is in the process of the journey. Okay. And that really is where you find the rewards. It truly is a lot about the small victories. Okay. So go ahead and leave your comments below. Tell me what you think. If you have any questions about that, you can submit questions. I'll do my best to try and do content on them, but no promises. I'm just kind of doing my own thing and trying to create helpful content when I can. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share and all that stuff, and we'll see you in the next one.